Hello Exiles. Today we're going to be highlighting a software which I've been using over the last couple of days, which has been very good in terms of all the different functionalities. This is what is the software that you can see on screen right here, and one of the main things as well that it does help you with is sorting out your scarab prices. So if I just do this on the scarab prices, it does then highlight to me all of the cheap scarab prices and all of the expensive scarabs, so I know which ones, obviously at a glance, without having to price check every single scarab. It tells me exactly which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones. Now I'll go into a little bit more detail and we'll go through how to install the software and how to run it and how to set it up. So before we get there though, if you are enjoying any of my videos guys and you are wanting to continue watching my content, then it would really help the channel if you would throw us a subscribe, throw us a comment, anything that you want me to do a video on in the future. We've got a couple of months now, I think, until the new league is due to begin, which is probably going to be in July. Obviously I'm going to be devoting a bit of May obviously to doing some content, and obviously for June for Path of Exile I may do obviously a few carry on with my build guide, my content guide series, and obviously we will go from there. I'm also going to be doing a video on all of the new content that's been added into the campaign, which I found the other day. So before we crack on, just wanted to say thank you for everyone who's watched, and obviously I hope you have enjoyed Necropolis League so far, and let's crack on with this software. Because this software doesn't actually do anything in terms of actions towards your gameplay, what I mean by that is it doesn't automate anything, and it doesn't click for you, and it doesn't physically do anything. All it does is just provide you with helpful information and helpful tips. There is no way that this software breaches any form of terms and conditions of the game, so you will not get banned for the software. So that is just something to be clear on. You do not need to worry about it. There is just, because of the way that the tool works, it just provides you with helpful information, and it is just basically an overlay. You do not need to worry about being banned because it doesn't provide you with any actions. It doesn't start automating your character. It doesn't do any clicks. It's not a macro. It doesn't do any of that. It's literally just a tool to help you view stuff. That is it. Now, the software that I'm going to be bringing you today is brought to you by Lalokin, and I apologize if I've pronounced that incorrectly, but this is his GitHub page, which I will be providing you with in the description below. If you want to download it, you literally just click this blue download button right here, and it will then download the auto hotkey software for you. Now, you're probably asking, what does it do? Well, the best thing to do is, what doesn't it do? So I'm going to run through a few of the things that it does here. So first things first, it does highlight your items, and it tells you what your items are, what percentile they are. It tells you the quality of the item, it tells you the item level, it tells you all of the stats. It then tells you the explicit roles, and it tells you this grey bar. If this grey bar is full, then obviously you have the best roll that you can get, and obviously the smaller the bar, then obviously the lower the roll. Obviously the numbers at the right here are the tier of the roll, so tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. And on uniques, it will also show whether you have the max roll unique, i.e. 100, or whether you have the lowest roll, i.e. 0. Then what it does is it then does gather a score of an average, and it then basically tells you that this item is worthy of a 48 roll. Obviously, the best rolled item would be 100. Then carrying on, it does also provide you with provide you with a leveling service, which I'll run through with you in a minute. When running through the acts, it will tell you what to do in each zone, and there are some helpful tips which I even have provided in my leveling guides that I have done previously for all of my act series. This has some informative information which I will show you very shortly, but it will also, if you include your POB, which I'll show you very briefly, you can then it will tell you what gems to go and buy at what point during the acts, so you can then go back. You can also import your path of building, and it will tell you which ascendancy you should be going for first. It will also highlight the gems that you are wanting to buy by putting in some code into the actual text, so this will then help you. Carrying on, it does also help you with your Scarab prices, and it can tell you how much they are in Divine price, Exalted price, or Chaos price. It shows you about the lanterns, what tier lantern modifiers there are, so obviously the better the tier, then obviously the better the colour. There is a mod that tells you about altars, so you can simplify altars, so instead of it being a massive wall of text, you can literally just streamline it down to show you exactly what you want it to do, and you can actually highlight, you can modify this yourself, so you can actually highlight mods that you want to look out for that are dangerous, and obviously mods that you want to look out for and put them in bright green, i.e. maybe drops a Divine Orb, drops a Chaos Orb. Same with Vaal side areas, you can obviously limit this stream down to something that's a little bit more condensed, and obviously just get it to show you exactly what the monsters give, obviously to make it a little bit easier for you to see. There are also cheat sheets built into the program itself for Betrayal. I think there is one for Incursion, not too sure on that one, but I think I have seen the Betrayal cheat sheet which has been updated. There is a mapping tracker as well, which logs how long you've been in the map, what map you've ran, what tier you did, how long it took you, how much XP you gained, how many times you died, how many portals you used, how many monsters you killed, and it also tells you what content you obviously did within that map as well. Also, obviously, there is provided with other information. In terms of rolling maps, there is a little mod here for rolling tier 17 maps where you can actually, just at a glance, instead of having to read 17 lines of text, which I can imagine some lines you can sometimes miss, on here it's nice and brief. Ellie Reflect, more life, cannot block and suppress, everything else you don't care about, so you can mess around with that in there to make it a little bit easier when rolling tier 17 maps. On Betrayal, there is a little bit of information there to do with what each Betrayal leader will give you. Carrying on, there is a Timeless Legion Jewel provider which tells you what a Legion Jewel will give you in a brief summary if you click on a certain node, which I'll run through with you in a minute. There is a few quality of life features as well down here for tiers of items and things. Then further on down, there is obviously a lab breakdown as well, so if you wanted to see the lab, you can obviously grab that as well. And then further down as well, there is some, it does cover in different languages, so you can change it to different languages for German or Japanese. And then finally, there are some retired legacy functions, as you can see here, where he did support Arch Nemesis, Lake of Calandra, Sanctum. I'm not too sure whether the Sanctum is still working. There is a Delve helper here where obviously it helps you with Delve, being able to get through certain passages and find secret passages. Now all of this is built into one tiny little file which you can then run, which we're going to run through now. Now, when you have downloaded the file, you will get a folder that looks very similar to this. Now, the file that you want to run is this bottom one here. It's called lalukkenui.ahk. Now, the most important thing that you do need to do is that you will need to download a auto hotkey software, which I will provide you with the best one in the actual description below. If you do not have this installed, then you will not be able to run the software. For reference, this is the AutoHotkey website that you would need to go to, and I would kindly advise you to download the 1.1. If you download the 2.0, there was a few people that were struggling to run the script, so I would probably advise you to run the 1.1. Once you have double-clicked the software, you will notice in-game at the top of your screen, you will have this tiny little UI that you can see up here. Now, if you click on the little cog, you will then bring up this little UI window, which you can then move around for whatever way you want to do it. So if you want it to be in the middle of your screen, then you can do. If you want it to be on the left of your screen, doesn't really matter. First things first that I would advise you to do is, first things first, I would jump to the tab that's named Stash Ninja at the bottom here, and when you open the software, it will look like this. Just enable it, and you do not need to do anything else. You may want to just double check the league that you are in is relevant at the top here, so whether you're in Hardcore or whether you're in Necropolis League. You can also mess around with the UI, change the size, and obviously tailor it to the values that you want. So at the moment, this is currently set to show scarabs that are currently 1C, between 1 and 10 chaos, which this is denoted by the C here. then 0.2 of a divine and 0.5 of a divine, and then anything that's above 0.5 of a divine. So I'm just going to close this. If we jump to the Scarab tab now, the key to do this is you just literally press your middle scroll button down. You just press it once and this little UI comes up at the bottom of your screen. Now the way to navigate through this is you literally just press 2, 3, 4, 5 on your keyboard and it will scroll between them and navigate between your different menus. So for in essence, this basically says that everything that's highlighted in green there is less than 1 chaos per scarab. If you highlight over them, it will then tell you a bit more information, and it will tell you whether it's how much it is in exalted and how much it is in divine. Now, as you scroll through these, you'll obviously then see that the numbers then change. So as you can see here, this Blight Scarab is currently 10 chaos, or 1.5 exalted, or 0.07 of a divine. Now it will show you this ratio on every single scarab, and again you can then knock it up a notch to tier 3, which then shows you higher denoted scarabs. So this one is currently 32 chaos, this one is currently 48 chaos, and so on and so forth. Now you can change these prices, so if you want it to be very strict, you can change these numbers, literally just highlight them and change your values. Just make sure that in here you put the divine and the chaos to which one you want it to show. So that is the first thing that obviously that it does provide you with, and that is the first thing that I would advise you to do. Next thing I would advise you to do is jump to general, and I would advise you in here, active character is put in your current active character's name. Now the other day I was testing the campaign with this software and obviously it pinged up my level 31 character, whereas obviously if I wanted to do it as it is right now, if we just do this, I'll show it you now. It's currently Fusion Gaming, so if I type in here Fusion, hold on, Fusion _ gaming, and then press enter, you will notice it goes away and it pulls back level 99, which as you can see, I am currently level 99. So there is a software that is built in that will go away and it will go and check your username. Now this is relevant because some of the software that's within this will need this to be completed. Okay, if you want to be checked and you want to just make sure that it's done it right, you can then just hit apply and restart. And it takes literally 3 seconds and there we go, it's restarted and it's now running again, running correctly. In terms of betrayal, obviously you do have betrayal info in here, so you can have a mess around in there and obviously see what reward customization you want it to show. You got cheat sheets in here, so if you want to see cheat sheets for whatever one it may be, then you can obviously add your cheat sheets in. In terms of hotkeys, the main hotkey that you have is your middle mouse button, so your roll key. If you want to change that, then it says here, replace it with what? What do you want to replace it with? Now, me personally, I never really use that middle mouse key, so I just left it as it was. Item info. This is another one where it will literally show on an item. If I literally just double click on an item, it will show me the stats that are obviously connected to that item. So as you can see here, we have some gloves here, and as you can see, the grey values and the grey boxes there are all filled in. And if I hover this over a unique item, it will then do the exact same item check on it, or it should do. And it shows you there the different tiers. So it's given this value item a value of 90, which is very high, which means that it is pretty much nearly perfect. And obviously it would do this on every item that you do the check on. As you can see here, Chaos Res, but the mana roll is pretty low, so it's only giving it a score of 48. Let's check my Mage Blood. There we go, 45. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Carrying on, there is a leveling software which is in here, which is very, very cool. It does then provide you with a zone layout overlay. What you will need to do is you will need to press this button here that says Open Exile Leveling. It will then take you to this page, which I have mentioned in a few of my other videos, which is for Heart of Foss's Exile Leveling. What you would then need to do is you would then need to go in and you would do Build. You would then import your path of building in here. So you would press import build. You would put in your path of building in there. It would then update all of the information in this route here with all of the information that you would then need. You would then press third party export and what it would then do is it would then jump back to this software. Now what that then does is it then provides you with the leveling tool that is at the bottom of your screen. So if I go and jump to level, let's go just jump to the ledge. If I turn this on, at the bottom down here there is a nice little UI. If you hold down the left arrow key, it will reset it all the way back to the beginning. If you then hold down the right arrow key, it then updates. Look, enter the climb. I wasn't going the right way, so that would have been costly. So let's carry on going this way. I was too busy trying to just explain. So what we'll do is we'll run through here and I'll show you what it does in terms of updating automatically. So it says there, enter the climb. As soon as I enter the climb, you will then see that it should automatically update. Now, one thing to take a note as well, on the left hand side of that little UI, it says 0ZL. What that means is that there is 0 zone layouts for that area. So this one, there is currently 2. Now it says enter the lower prison. Now if I press tab, it shows you there on the left hand side of the screen the zone layouts for this area. Now if I press middle click, it will then show you a little bit, while I'm holding tab, it will then show you a little bit more of a breakdown. So you would start at the entrance, which is the white dot. There is a waypoint on the way, and then the green dot at the end is the end, or the end of the zone basically. And that is basically, that path is how it usually goes. So it usually goes all the way to the right and then up and right, or it can go up, left, and then right. So you pick, obviously you can go whichever way of those two you want to go. That obviously is just by pressing, just by holding tab, you can just bring it on and off the screen like that. Another thing that it does do is it does actually show you if you are in the right zone for XP. So what this does down here, this red number here, it tells me that currently I am only getting 1% of XP for this zone because it is currently 83 levels above what I am currently. Now what we will do is I will log into my other character and we will jump into a zone that is of my area. So give me a second. What you will need to do though, if you want this to update, is you will need to update this name. There we go, campaign tester. So if I now run into the dried lake here, you will notice that it says at the bottom here, look, so 27 is the minimum level, 34 is the level of the zone, so you look at the top here, and level 35 means that that is the highest level that you can be in this zone to gain maximum XP. Now, it doesn't tell you what your current level is, so I'm currently level 31, but what it does do though, is if I was to knock down a few zones, I will show you what it does. So if let's jump back to a zone in Act 3. So let's jump back to, let's say, the sewers. Now, what it won't do down here is it won't update because I've just jumped like 6 zones, so it will struggle. So what you do is you hold down left click, it resets it, hold down right click, right arrow, sorry, and it then updates it here. Now, as you can see here, look, see the little number? It now says that I am only going to be getting 96% of the XP from this zone and that I am actually 1 level over leveled for this zone. So basically what that means is it helps you if you want to basically just run through a zone. So if you know that you're over leveled, then it will tell you down here. Let's jump to the city of San. Down here, look, I'm now only getting 39% of my XP and I'm 4 over leveled, 4 levels over leveled. However, if I now jumped, let's say to, I don't know how it works. I would assume that if I'm too, if you're going too fast, it may turn around and do the same and say that you're too under leveled for the area, and it will then tell you that you're not getting enough XP. I've not got that far in terms of pushing the software, but I would assume that it does the same thing in terms of how that works. So let me just log back into my other character. The way to turn this on, by the way, at the bottom is just by pressing the book at the top there. See, it's lit up. If I just press it, it turns off. Now, the way to turn that on is by enabling the leveling self-service within here. So if I just go to in here, settings, there is a leveling tracker in here. So enable leveling tracker that is what you would turn on. And you can even put here, look, enable zone layout. That was the zone layouts that I was showing you about. If you don't want to see that, then you can just untick that off. And obviously it does also show you other hints and guides within there. So I'm just going to show you one of those very quickly now. So if I just jump to Act 2 and we go to the Western Forest. Now, if you want to get to the Weaver's Chambers, I'm just going to reset this back down here. So you see down here, see it says, follow the road, enter the Weaver's Chambers, search the side of road opposite the waypoint. Now you see this little book here. If I press tab on the book, there's a little box that pops up that shows you there's the waypoint, and that's the direction that you want to be heading, the opposite way, the other way. So you want to be heading over here, over this way, or this way, to be able to find the Weaver's Chambers. Okay, every single time you see one of them books, it will provide you with a little picture and a little diagram to be able to help you. So there's one here. So if anybody has seen my leveling guides in the past where I have talked about the riverways and I have said that you want to run between these two poles with the spikes on them, if you actually go to the riverways and press tab, look, it highlights. It says look for the two pillars near the waypoint, which are these two pillars, which is highlighted here, and go through the middle of them. See, it's kind of built into the software and it's all helpful for you for when leveling. It's very noob friendly and helpful for anyone that's trying to level through the axe and they're not too sure on what to do. Carrying on, there is a mapping tracker which does provide you with a bit of mapping information, which you would go in here, you would enable the mapping tracker. You would also need to enable the the map info option here, this map info panel. Once you go back to the mapping tracker, if you highlight loot, kills, map info, side areas, tracker details, you can untick these as well. And you can also tell it to remind you when using a portal scroll if there is any content that you have not completed within your map. It will warn you and it will say, just bear in mind, you know, you've missed something out. It comes up with a little box. Okay. Now the map tracker, I'll show you at the top here, looks like this. So all you need to do when you enter a map is you need to press middle mouse button, and what it will do is it will start to count monsters. Okay, and then after that, what it will then do is it will then count all of the monsters, and once you've completed your map, you then press it again and it will then stop and it will then count how many monsters you've then killed. So as you can see here, it shows you every single map that you have done. It's like Big Brother. It tells you the date, time, what tier map you did, how long it took you to do the map. So my average I was doing Harby runs the other day was around about 4 minutes. I was getting 1% XP, bearing in mind I am level 99, so that sounds about right. I died once, 3 times, 2 times, 1 time, just because I was testing a few things out. I used quite a few portals. Again, I was doing quite a few trades. It tells you here how many monsters I killed. So I was killing around about 2,500 monsters here. And then it tells you whether I did any content within the map itself. So I did Betrayal here, Blight here, and Einhar here. These all down here are Maven, all these little white circles. But as you can see down here, monster difference, monster volumes, these are only like 800, these are like 2000. So as you can see from doing Harby, there is a lot more monster count. Now this does go back, look, the history does go back, so there's page 2, there's page 3. It does continue to track it for the entirety of when you are doing your maps. And that is literally just a very quick, down here, this not tracking thing, I will throw you a map in very quickly. I'll just throw in something silly, just so I can show you what you do. Let's take out the Harby stuff. We'll run it. That's fine. Sunken City. Look, see this come up on screen here? I don't know why that's come up. That shouldn't have come up. See, it says press the Omni key to start the kill tracker. So you press middle click, kill count updated. So you see, it's just put it in the chat there. You have killed 1.4. Let's go and kill a few monsters. Let's try and kill. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 10 monsters there. Then we're going to leave. And then what we do down here, see it's down here, see it's flashing. You literally press it once and it then map logged. If I now go back into here, it will now say Sunken City and I killed 11 monsters. Okay, nice and easy. Last thing I wanted to talk about in this software is there is a lantern experimental function in here where you can get it to look at certain filters and customizations, and you can tell it to look at certain things on the lantern, which I've not really messed around with that, but you can do that. There is also a tool for timeless jewels. So if I hover this over my timeless jewel and I press middle, it should have worked if I press middle click. There we go. So if I just middle click on this, it says there Seed Explorer. It then brings up this screen and it tells me everything that it then provides me with. Now, if you're probably thinking that doesn't really help me, well, if I put it onto let's say a Elegant Hubris, it will then tell me all of the mods that it will then give me. So there is a Slumlord in there somewhere. It's just a case of finding it. So it'll obviously you then click where you want to put the gem, and it will then tell you exactly every single notable and what it will give you for that stone, which is very helpful. It's very slick, very smooth, and obviously it does provide you with a nice little breakdown of everything that it does provide you with. So if you are taking any of these nodes, you can then see what it's going to give you. But it's more helpful to check if you are a Legion runner. You can literally price check a jewel and see whether it's something that's going to be worth some money and what it's going to give. Like here. So if I was to put this up there you go. It tells me everything that it does provide me with. Now, I think when I did this earlier as well, there was one that provided me with a bit more information. Let me just find it 1 second. So with this one, this jewel does provide all of these stats, but not all at the same time. So I would need to click on each individual one, but then what it does say is it then does say, look, it gives me these notables in this area. Okay, so that's the timeless jewel checker, which is pretty cool. Last thing to mention is if for any reason it does bug out, which I have had it bug out a few times just on the Scarab tab, where obviously I've done the price checking thing, and then sometimes I've then had it on screen and then I've then walked away and it's done this and it's still on screen. Just press escape on your keyboard and it just vanishes. It just disappears, so don't worry. And that is basically it, guys. I just wanted to just quickly run through the software. There is obviously multiple different things that you can do with the software, so if you want to do a bit of a deep dive in it and you want to spend a bit more time on it, if you go to his GitHub page, he does have a helpful explanation to every single part of the tool, and then that will then help you to try and understand how it works. Also, you can reach out to him as well. He is on the Discord and he is on Reddit, so you can obviously reach out if you are having any problems, or he may have a contact information on his GitHub page for any bugs or any problems or anything. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. It was a very helpful tool that I've been trying to use over the last couple of days. It's been very useful. I've shared it with a few other people and they've all liked it and they've not had any problems with running it. Apologies for the length of the video, but I think with the amount of information that is within this tool, I didn't really want to do a 5-minute video because it wouldn't have been very informative and it wouldn't have really showcased how the software works in a real life scenario. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching, and until the next video, stay sane, Exile.